Hello and welcome to another episode of GM Talks. Today we're going to look at positional exchanges. What should stay, what should go, and why. And I assure you that if you look deeply at this video, you will improve your chess understanding. It's deep concepts today. It will maybe be a little bit difficult, but if you get it, it will really improve your game, I promise. This is a game I played in May in the same tournament I talked about earlier, Kronborg Chess Open. It was not an open, it was a closed tournament, but I played against my good old friend Nikolai in the last round. Nikolai had a horrible tournament, and to be honest, I had to win this game. I don't really like playing against friends because I have some ego issues, so I can tend to like to not like my opponent too much. Anyway, so when you're rooting for your opponent, it's not so good. Anyway, he once cost me a Danish championship, so this is payback. Maybe he did, I don't know. So I play c4, and I realized that Nikolai is quite strong in tactical and aggressive attacking chess, but I think he's in the sort of slow maneuvering games. That's not his skills, and he tends to be what I would call an optimist. And I play the English sometimes. I played it a lot recently, but I'm not sure I will continue to do that. I'm not really sure it gives a serious hope of an advantage against a well-prepared opponent, but it's a good opening against players like Nikolai. And I realized he plays this E5 system, which is a very good system, I think, but it is also a little bit stiff and it's not so dynamic that I think Nikolai would prefer not to have this kind of position in reality, even though it's probably theoretically the best opening for black. I still believe that you should probably use something else if I was Nikolai. He had some problems against d4 and c4, knight a3, and it's hard to find a way to just get the kind of positions you want with black against a guy like me who's very experienced, who play all moves and will vary them to get what I like and not what my opponent like. Anyway, so I was prepared for this. I prepared for actually some time, and this is an a5. If he plays knight e7, you sacrifice the pawn with b4. If you go here, then you play b4, and that's supposed to be fine for white. So rook b1. Basically, white is planning to go b4. Black is hoping to play something like this, maybe this, and not b, and then later on d5, and get sort of a Roxy where he is a little bit better. This system is very popular in Sweden, where all the top players are playing it. I think Wedberg got his name on it actually, and he was so happy with this that he even answered knight f3 with c5. And when people played e4, he was kind of tricked because he played e5 against e4. Anyway, that's a completely different story. d3, all very natural moves. Castle and bishop d2, and that's sort of a subtle improvement for how to play this. This is recommended by Nikos in his book on the English, and I prepared this. The main moves here, Nikolai started to think a lot here. The main moves here are h6, preparing bishop e6, and bishop e6, and rook. I think rook b8 is also possible. Anyway, what you will do is probably play something like knight e2, knight c2, and b4, and you're trying to avoid black getting d5 in. And if he does get d5 in, it should be in a sort of a bad circumstances. Here Nikolai thought for a long time. He probably didn't know this move, bishop d2, and he played f6. And the computer is not completely sort of against this move, but I don't like it. And the reason I don't like it is it weakens G7 and H7. Now that's pretty deep, right? So that's, I promised you something deep, some big understanding here. The thing is, sometimes white will get rooks on this place here, and black definitely need his bishop to be here and defend this pawn here, so there's nothing going on these squares. So that's why f6 is sort of, it's way out in the future, but it is weakening the 7th rank for black. And you say, but come on, the 7th rank, you can't touch the 7th rank. What are you talking about? Well, we will see. And this is kind of schematic thing that's pretty difficult, that you sort of solve a short-term problem. You get ready to play the bishop to e6, but at the same time, it creates some other weaknesses. And now you can play bishop e6 without any knight d5. The problem is, of course, that if you go knight d6 here, then this is annoying, to be honest, right? And the knight will take a different route to d5. Okay, so f6, slight mistake, I think. Knight e1, natural move. It's general. It's going this way. Knight c2, and either this way in here and controlling d5, keeping, if this square doesn't move anything, if white can play a knight against this bishop, he would be happy. Another way is, of course, to pave the way with b4 and sort of get this bishop to be really active, get this rook, I'll make it a different color, to be really active. Black is hoping, and that's his main idea, is to play d5, and it's kind of hard to prevent in the long run. Bishop e6, and already black is preparing d5. If, for instance, I go knight c2, black would definitely play d5 here, and I think black is okay. This is okay. So after bishop e6, of course, I have to play knight d5, preventing anything. And if he had a rook on b8, he could play b5 now, and also sort of solve the queen side. There's a lot of theory with the h6 and bishop e6 systems, and rook b8 and so on. And I think white is slightly better, and I think the position would suit me better than Nikolai, but it's very close to equal, very close. Bishop f7, and that's also not really what you want to play, but it looks like the natural move. The thing is, the bishop doesn't belong on f7. It's another way of sort of shielding this way, but it doesn't feel quite as good. The bishop was better on e6. But how to do this? Black is now ready for this. And white will end up with a pawn here. This is not really what we want. Okay, so I take, and that's probably a little bit surprising. The idea is he would usually like to take back with the knight, but he can't now because the bishop is eyeing this bishop, this square. So he has to take back with the queen, and that takes away, oops, not this one, this square. So he will not be able to play d5 because knight c2, queen d7. You see his pieces seem to go on the same squares all the time, and b4. That was all part of the plan. And take a knight e7, also natural move, and bishop e3. The thing is, if I play something like this, which would prevent d5, then it will not be so easy. He will have a free pawn on d5. He'll take with the knight for sure, and I think he's probably okay. I was not happy about that, but I thought bishop e3 looked kind of natural. I'm definitely trying to get to target this pawn here, and I have all very nice pieces everywhere, and sometimes I can go bishop c5 in some lines, rook c8, getting out of the range here, and rook e1. Now that was probably pretty surprising. The idea here is, of course, a move like queen b3, which is something I would like. He can answer with b5 and solve the problem. If all the pawns disappear, he has no problems, of course. So rook e1, very, very subtle prophylactic move. I'm basically, I don't see him have a good move, and I'm trying to sort of maybe it's a little bit of a waiting move. If he plays b5, then he has problem. I take and queen. There's some tactical justification here. I have this move, and he will have to give up the queen for piece for 2 pieces, and that's not good. Anyway, so d5 is more or less formed, and now I'm happy that d5 is covered. So take, and take. And if we see here, we see that white has 5 pawns versus 4 pawns, and black has a passed pawn. But it's also a weak pawn. The natural move here for white would be to play queen b3. I'm sure I would have played that in a blitz game. The thing is, when you realize that the f7 pawn has made his stomach, sort of his lower body, weak, you realize it's much better to keep the queens on. Because I have much better chances of maybe start an attack against the king, but also to win this pawn with more heavy pieces. There are more chances for his pieces to be clumsy. Also, at the moment, the guy down here, I'll make it another color, is not doing anything. This is the potential bad bishop. It looks like black can probably just put all the pieces to cover this one, but it's not so easy, as we will see, and from here it goes rapidly downhill for black. So queen a4, much better move than queen b3. I'm ready to go here and go and of course double the pawns, and have some other ideas as well. So basically I'm saying my queen is much better here, and this is maybe a little bit counterproductive. Usually when you're trying to attack weaknesses, you would like to exchange pieces, but here the heavy pieces are clearly in my favor, and I was a little bit surprised that it was that clear. Rook f7, natural move, shields the king from checks, and covering this pawn with this way. Rook b5 and queen c6 and rook b1, rook c1. I played rook c1, and he was thinking that he could probably take, but when we started to analyze it, it becomes pretty clear that it's not good. It's that you don't get enough. So I'm pushing his queen away from a good square on c6, where it's both it's got potential this way, and it's covering this guy. So he moves back, rook b1, not attacking anything yet, rook c7. And here comes an important move that's annoying for black, and probably shows why his position is already more or less lost. It doesn't look that bad, right? It looks like it's okay, but this move really annoys him. So see if you can find a good move for white. In this kind of position, the way you should think about it is you always want to sort of dominate the opponent's pieces, and give them less room, and make some sort of tactical possibilities sort of be possible. So what looks like a natural move here? This move. It does actually create a threat. It threatened to take here because of the X-ray here. Basically just winning a pawn. So he has to move the king. This pin is very annoying. But having the king here is not really what you want, because now a check on this rank here would hurt a lot more when you can't play bishop. Usually can't play bishop f8. And here comes another move. So white is shuffling, and basically he wants to maybe play this move, maybe or maybe put it on this square. And black is really struggling here to get to get his pieces together. Rook d7, queen a4. So the pin, we make a different pin here, trying to prevent him from. I think he wanted to play this move, and now it's not possible because of the check. And that's also annoying. Bishop f8, rook a8, queen c7, bishop b6, and we see that white is basically dominating, and he's running out of squares. So all this looks natural, and here comes bishop a5. And what was the point of that? Well, it's going here, and black is already winning. White is already winning. Bishop b4 is just a monster threat, and it went so fast that from black being a little bit passive, getting to justice, just by keeping the heavy pieces on the board. d4, queen b5, bishop b4 is still a threat. I was a little bit afraid of something like. There was a trick here. I think rook a6 was a trick. What was it? No. Was a trick here? Here was what I was afraid of, but it doesn't work because of this move. And this was what I didn't see was this. So I could have played bishop b6. I couldn't calculate this. Nikolai saw this, and this is typical that Nikolai sees long lines like this, where I just move around. But also, very important thing to notice, in this kind of position, when you're winning, don't change anything. Just keep the pressure on, and rook b8, and just and we see that I managed somehow to create dominate the b file completely. And I'm still not. I want to take with the rook. Probably still threatening this move. And now I take when this was not hanging, and winning a pawn. He cannot. This one is hanging, so he has to exchange the queens. No, he didn't. Well, he did have to exchange the queen, and here I'm just winning. And bishop d8, and yeah, it's winning, and there was nothing to do in this situation. So what to learn here? Well, first of all pawn moves have consequences. When black played f6, he already sort of laid the foundation for some of the later problems. Then white was subtly moving around and realized that in order to get the maximum from his position, he had to keep the queens on. The very crucial situation, and to be honest, it took me some time to realize that here that because queen b3 just give easy pressure on b7, and you're of course better with white, and I might win it, but queen a4 is just so much better, and that took some time to realize that my queen is much stronger than his queen, and the more pieces that will be on the board, the more difficult it will be for him to defend his weakness on b7. Anyway, this was GM Talks. Please give me your feedback, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I think it's a little bit different from what other people are doing on YouTube, where usually there's a lot of fancy tactical lines. I try to shy away from that. I think where I can help is with this kind of maneuvering chess, because I understand it on a pretty high level, I think, I hope. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Another one will come tomorrow. Thank you for